was one of my girlfriends.
Sure. There is no food. She's far away.
I achieved so many certificates of best dancer.
Telling them how bad I was before, and I don't want them to go through that route.
I have a lot of work in life.
In the film, we could see and hear how scared you are, how long time you were thinking about going to make a test. Can you tell us a little bit about this time, about your concernings, and maybe also how your colleagues are doing that?
In South Africa, there's a saying, if you know your status, you will die. So that thing we are living with it. I was in that location where everyone, like not everyone, almost of the people are sick. So I have seen so many people suffering from that disease or that virus, and they are dying. So it was difficult for me, because when I see the situation that they are in, and now they are saying if I know I will die, so I was afraid to go and test. It took me some time to do the test. Yes.
So, on your side, there is a young lady. She is living with HIV, and she can tell us, hopefully, a bit how was it in the same period as Sidiso was, and how was it to go to the test, and how was it afterwards?
To go to the test, it was quite easy for me, because I didn't think at all that I would be positive, so I went actually easily to the doctor. But then the result and the days afterwards, the months afterwards, it was really shocking and hard. It was like I didn't know exactly what happens now. I didn't know if I can have a family, or yes, I wasn't much informated about this topic. I just knew the ground things, and so yes, it was then afterwards it was hard, but before it was just like normal test. And I think a lot of people in Switzerland are doing this test actually easier than in South Africa, where it is a much more topic to get it.
So a totally different situation to
Yes.
yours.
By chance, when you came back to Switzerland, I redo the test again.
I did it here in Switzerland. I didn't do it in South Africa. It was, I think, 4 months after I got the virus, I went to the doctor, and then, yes, it came out positive.
Okay, and then the other question is, knowing that you are HIV positive, you know exactly that you are not sick, you are just positive. So how does it feel, and what are your daily and your imaginations of living, and how do you feel?
Now I feel actually good with myself. I accepted it. I'm just living with that. It's normal for me. It was getting normal for me now. But I mean, like in the community, it's always hard to explain, and sometimes people see you different after you told them about this, and they are sometimes afraid of getting it too. So yes, I think the less informations are quite big problem for also for people who like me who has it. Then they are like they take them distance, and yes, that's quite hard to live with that when you see like you know a person and then you tell that person that, and afterwards they watch you in a different light. It's quite like, but I mean, I and myself, I accepted it for me, so I'm glad that I could do that.
Oh, and I think for Sidiso, not only for Sidiso, also for us young South Africans, I think it becomes hard for us to go and test and know our status because of what you are just saying now. I will try to be open about it. Just try to be open because I have had the information about this, and now I want to be open with people who are close to me, relatives, friends. When doing that, they are going to distance themselves from me. So that's how usually most of the people, they even tend to commit suicide, seeing that the world have turned the back against them. So I think you are such a strong lady to that extent that you are. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you very much.
I'm really proud that you are here. I'm speaking with you at this moment.
Thank you.
And to add, Fender, in our township, so like not so many people live with this virus, because once they get to know that they are infected, they give up. They just give up. They do whatever. So this thing, I'm really inspired by the lady next to me.
But I think it's also with the therapy, I can take the medication. That helps me actually a lot, that I know I can't put it on others anymore. And I think that's also a very big difference in townships where you can't get the medications or anything, then I think it's harder to accept that. If you get sicker and sicker and you can't do anything about it.
But they can get medication in Katlehong
For free or?
for free.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh,
It may be different in KZN, but in Katlehong, access to medication is. Or am I right?
Yes,
You are
yes.
right.
Okay.
But the thing is, people from Katlehong, from the townships, are actually people who always think of other people before they can think of themselves. So when they have to go and take the medication, they think of what will someone say if she or sees me there. They will actually say, like, at the clinic, I always go to the clinic when I have flu. So the people who are affected are always they're always staying somewhere, and with their files that shows that they visit the place usually. So the most thing that the thing that makes these people not to actually accept themselves is that when they go to that line, they think, someone will come here and say, oh, that person is sick now, look at him. So I think that's somehow. And the other thing that I want to add about this HIV, I never thought actually I would meet or be with someone who is infected. As you have seen the movie, I met my father just now, 2010, after so many years without seeing him.
Yes.
And on 2013, I received a shocking call in South Africa. That call was saying that I must hurry up, my father is somehow not well and there was no one there for him. When I went to Lesotho, I even struggled myself to get to Lesotho because it's somehow far from where I live, and it cost lots of money to go there. When I went there, my father, he's my father, I'm his son. He just said to me, my boy, I'm sick, but I don't know what's going on. I took him to the doctor. From there, I went to town to buy him some groceries because I could see he's suffering from something to eat. Eventually, he left the place to home, and when I went to the doctor to check him, he was not there, and the doctor was wise enough to call me and say, come here, what's your relationship between you and this person? I said to her, he is my father. And he said, your father is not sick, your father is positive. He was afraid of telling me. I only found it from the doctor. I was so angry that I even wanted to go back to South Africa with the groceries, but it did not make sense. I went to him, I approached him that, what is really happening with you? He was still afraid of telling me. I said, now there is no time for you to be afraid of telling me because I already know. And it's not wise for me to know it from the outsiders. It's actually wise for you to tell me so that I can accept you as my father. So that's why I learned that I can live with someone who is HIV positive, because now the information is not as bad as it was before, because before we never knew this. We thought like HIV is AIDS. Once you are infected, you are dying. So now things are different. Even the education did help us a lot for us to know the nature of this thing. HIV positive does not mean that you have AIDS. HIV positive does not mean that you are dying. Once you are taking medication correctly, in time, not missing your time, and doing what exactly the doctors are telling you, you are going to live a long life that positive people with negative results are living. So I have accepted that, and from seeing from my father and knew again, for me, a person who is HIV positive is a normal person for me. Just that, yeah, well.
That's good.
Yeah, that's yes.
It's like that, but even in Switzerland, discrimination and stigmatization of HIV-infected people is still much too high, and that's why also Cynthia is with us. She is, as I told you, our mediator in Project Multicolore. She works with the African diaspora in Switzerland, and maybe you can tell a little bit about that phenomenon that people, especially African people in Switzerland, are so afraid to go to the test because they are, as you said, afraid of being tested positive and then dying or being discriminated.
Yeah. In Switzerland is first we have this shield that people don't want to know their medical state. It's funny because you think this age and time, not just because we live in Europe, but we are more educated than our parents were. We are more opportune than our parents were. We're more exposed than our parents were. So in this generation, you think everybody should care about their health. That means to know if I'm going to be sick, or if I'm presently sick, or if I have a chance to live longer. And it's shocking when you talk to people about HIV, and I mean, they tell you things like, anyways, I'm going to die someday. So if I'm dying from HIV, or if it's malaria, it's the same thing, I'm going to die anyways. And some will even tell you things like, if I use condom, what is the assurance that if I don't enjoy sex today, that I live longer? Why don't I enjoy it and die? And I tell them things like, because of 5 minutes enjoyment, you put your life on a stretch of fear and anxiety and the ability to want to know and then don't want to know. Like you said, you want to know on one side, on the other side you don't want to know, because you want to know because you think, okay, if I know now, then I will not follow girls anymore. From the film now, because first you're thinking, oh, I have the whole of my life, I can do what I want, have 11 girlfriends, and just the way I want to live my life. And suddenly you're faced with the fact that that is not how life should be, because you put yourself at risk and every other person at risk. Because the truth about sex is, when you have sex with somebody who has had sex with 10 persons, you're having sex with 11 people. And from the 11 people, if one of them had sex with 12 persons, you're sleeping with 20. The problem we face is people don't want to know. Because stigmatization, exclusion. Because the community, like you said, for me it's a shock to hear you're Swiss, I'm correct?
Yes.
It's a shock for me to hear that a Swiss person also faces exclusion, because that's the biggest problem we have here. Also back home in Nigeria, because I also go home and try to do a little bit of free work for people. It's terrible. I tell people here, it's better you know. At least you don't only protect yourself, you protect your family, not only your immediate family, but your extended family. Your father, your mother, your sister, your brothers. If they know that you're sick, like he said, he accepted his father. The thing about this thing is, when it's so far away, we always think it will never get to me. Oh, HIV is a story, far away. Until just somebody close to you gets it. Then you realize, oh, it's not so bad, I can still get close to that person. But if it was just her, maybe we'll all move our chairs because we're afraid, ooh, she's positive, like you said. But if it's your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, but people don't want to know. And until now, it's so difficult for us because we give the condoms, they collect it. But I mean, if you use free condoms for 4 or 5 times and then you go and have one sex that is unsafe, back to square one. And we tell everybody from our office, it's free, go and have the test. Some of them even promise, they tell me, give me the address, I will go. And do they go? I don't know, because I don't have a right to begin to find out what's the name of the person that come, because it's confidential, you know. I'm not supposed
they come.
Okay. It's good to know sometimes they come, but I have no right to follow up. And we do the same thing, it's a circle, you know. You keep telling the same persons and then you see other new people. And for me, it's heartbreaking, because not because I work with a HIV organization, because working with a HIV organization, my name is Mama Condom, because I'm everywhere with condom. First, they give me the name that I'm positive. That was the first thing when I started working with the HIV community. Everybody was afraid to talk to me. Whoo, she's positive. Of course, she must be positive to work there. And after a while, she's giving us condoms, so she's Mama Condom. It's fine by me, but the message I would like to pass is everybody should get tested. Not just you, your extended family, your immediate family, your friends, your enemies, everybody. Because if we all know, everybody who is in this room, if we all know our medical status, we say, that means your medical present situation, it will help not just you, but it's a chain that goes on.
I'm curious to know the information, HIV/AIDS knowledge is there in the township. The condoms are there. And what about fear? I mean, if you have, you're young, of course you can have a number of girlfriends, but the fear was also there because you were informed. I mean, now the information is there in the townships.
Everything is there. Informations, condoms. You know, now when you are like in our township, we don't take this virus serious. We take it as something to play about. Yeah, when you are fainted, she's living now. She's living. Yeah, he's living. I mean to say, we don't take this thing serious. We playing with it. Yes.
How are you? I didn't exactly understand. How are you playing with that?
You know, when someone, like, if you're telling me that a secret about someone, if she or he tested positive, I won't feel somehow. I would just laugh. Yes.
So it wouldn't touch you emotionally?
Yes, but I won't go and test. I will just laugh that he is living or she's living.
The fear is there because otherwise you wouldn't have the stigma around this issue. So the fear must be there as well. You said before, when you learned about a person that is positive, people didn't want to. Yeah. So there must be fear also. It's not just that the virus is so present. It's just part of That's what I always had the feeling. I worked in Zambia for a long time, and it was so normal that people were positive and so on, and it was just people forgot about it somehow, even if all these prevention messages and everything was around. But the fear is there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, and I mean you were terribly. Sometimes I even felt bad that I was pushing you so much because I felt how frightful you became. So I felt, what am I doing?
The thing is, Irene, the way you were looking at me, I saw something that, like, this white lady, she's seen something here. So I didn't want to know my status.
I was certain that you were positive. I was
Yes.
almost certain.
So I guess the not taking it seriously and laughing is a way of just
Healing
not
of-
letting the fear to yourself. It's
Protection,
just
yeah.
a protection.
I think now, recently, now I think HIV, like, there is more information about it, and I think now, with what I'm seeing in South Africa recently from people who are close to my neighborhood, I think it's something that is normal nowadays, because now I know plenty of people who are positive and who can come to me and tell me the story that, you know what, man, every time when you see me there at the clinic or whatever, I'm going to take my medication. So I somehow get happy that people are now accepting this. There was a story, well, it's somehow a funny story, recently this year in Africa about Ebola. It's something that we had. In South Africa, there is no such a thing. It's on in Western African countries. So they were like, oh, now they could see that AIDS is not, HIV is no longer killing us. They are coming with the other one. So, I mean, nowadays, I would say in South Africa nowadays, HIV is something that is normal. We accept it. We accept infected people. And, well, maybe the ones, people who are uneducated, they lack skill of accepting. They always think he's affected. When I touch him like this, I'm going to be affected. So they are the ones who actually doing those funny stuff. But for us, I think we have learned a lot about it, and we do understand it. It is something natural.
Young here, you are young people, you have sex. I think, is it cool to use condoms in South Africa, or is it not cool?
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Sir?
Do you understand the question?
I do understand the question
Is it
very
cool?
well.
You talk, okay, I think it's okay to you talk about we use condoms, or it's something everybody says, oh, it's not sexy, it's not so good with condoms, you know, we prefer without. And is this a question about young people? You talk about that?
Okay, me and my friends, we always talk all about that. But for me, it's a different story, because me, I have chosen my life that now I'm a bit older, I'm living with a woman, and I have a small baby. So for me, it's actually, I'm always wise not to go sleeping around with girls and not unprotected.
Okay.
Because now I have a responsibility here with me. I do not want to destroy my formation of a family, because it's not, at the moment, it's not a big family yet. But my friends, I'm telling them, they always say to me, you think you are clever now, you've covered yourself because now you know you have responsibilities. I always tell them, guys, please be wise. Be wise, because this thing do exist. To whichever you think she does not have it, she might be having it. And she might be, because now, the thing is, they say beautiful girls do not have AIDS. Ugly girls do have AIDS. So, yeah.
Before you had a child with your woman, did you think of going to test with her before having unprotected sex?
Yes, sir. Nice question. I was expecting that. I was expecting that one. Yes, sir. You know, before I had a child, I actually changed myself from a young South African boy, typical South African. I actually excluded myself, and I was actually into these sticky relationships, of which I'm not having any other girlfriends. I'm only having one girlfriend. That was always telling me that you and your partner, if you are really saying she's mine only, he's mine only, we had to test. We had actually to make tests, and
That's
even
wait
with
3 months.
No.
And wait 3 months.
Like something like a year. Something like a year. We had to, even if we were still with like this, even after 6 months, maybe we've tested. Then even after 6 months, we still test. She would ask me, "Why? Do you think I'm cheating on you?" I'm saying, "No, just for safety. We have to do it." So even with my girlfriend, whom I am having a child with, sir, we always tested before a child, and now even with the child, you know, before the child can be born, and with a pregnant woman, when she's always going to the doctor, they are always taking the tests. So I'm actually living with wisely, I think.
I'm really wondering what using condoms, is that cool? I found that an interesting, but is it cool or is it somehow, there is this saying, you don't eat an unwrapped candy. Is that still around or?
You know, as we are growing up, I would say girls are the one who making us do such a thing. Cause when they talk, you know, when they talk, they will say you didn't have sex with me, you had sex with condom. They are saying that.
Yeah, that's a...
So that thing is leading boys to something. Yes, truly speaking, in our age group, it's not cool if you use a condom, I would say.
For me, it's cool. For me, it's cool.
You are older.
No, they have the same age.
No, but in the comparing to these young people that Sidiso said, he is now in another situation, not older at age, but as you said, you are in a relationship, you have this baby.
But I would say, he says it's cool. He is not using a condom with his partner. So we are talking about the same thing here. It's the same thing here. It's not cool. Yes. He's not using a condom, but he says it's cool.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Because now he's in Switzerland, he's know what partner, his partners doing back in South Africa. Yes.
Yeah, that's another reality, yeah.
We say in Switzerland that girls, think more in safety than men.
Yes.
And often women kind of insist on a condom more than men do.
Yes.
Is that the same also? Do African girls also insist a bit more or think or talk about or wish that?
Yeah.
Or maybe South African in your township?
As we mentioned, it differs from age to age, you know. But in fact, even ladies, they do insist in using of condoms in most cases. I'm also married, but I still use a condom, you know. So it differs from age to age or from people, you know. So we can't say it's not cool to use a condom, you know. For others, it's cool to use a condom.
It is cool.
I just have one question.
This is the moment to introduce Mark.
Okay.
Mark Bamidele, he is from African Mirror TV, and the film that he is making of this discussion now you can then see on africanmirrortv.org. So please, your question.
Okay. I have a question because sometimes I speak with fellow Africans about condom use. One guy was giving me a breakdown of a condom. He said, "Do you know how much it costs on the automat?" This is around 5 francs. He said, "Look, I'm very sexually active with my partner. You know how many I need if I have to?" Now think about it. If I have to spend 5 francs every 2 days, just because I have to wear condom, then think about how much this is costing me with my African background every month. How much you think is my salary? Please forget the condom. You see?
But in South Africa, condoms are free.
No, we don't want to use those free ones.
You don't want to use them?
No, it's not cool to use the free ones.
That's not cool.
No.
No, not good. They are
Yeah, most of those choice things they smell bad. First thing.
So they need other flavors.
Yeah, so we need those flavored and other things, and they cost.
Because they are the ones that are okay for a sex life are actually the most expensive condoms, the Durex. They are expensive and we cannot afford them. So I think they have to change and get us the new stuff.
Yeah, that's a factor, of course.
And something that some people complain here is that the ones we give free is a universal one. It's not different sizes, and a lot of people want the large size. So they also complain that we should bring different sizes. But I try to explain to them that it's universal. Everybody can wear it, and they ask me how. I should show them.
Okay. I would like to ask a question that probably was asked already many times to you, Iron, or also to you. How come, I mean, I was watching the film, it was very intimate. I mean, you follow the intimate life of, I mean, not that intimate, but still, for us, maybe, there were intimate situations. They were washing themselves. You were very personal moments. How did you build this trust? I mean, how did you? Was it an accident that you meet? It was so natural in the film. I mean, it just we were watching in a film and we forgot that you were there with the camera. And I mean, it's not easy. I can imagine it's not an easy thing to build this trust, to build this connection.
It somehow happened. And
You know.
yeah.
Well, it did happen because now Irene was somehow like, as you know, typical South Africans, typical Africans, you know, white people and stuff. So she came to us and we were actually dancing. She came to speak with our leader, right on your right hand, and then while she was there with us dancing and stuff, and she filmed us. Firstly, I think she started with this guy, and then this guy came to me and said, "Hey, that mama, that lady, hey, she came to me and filmed everything I do, but I think it's cool." He was saying, "But I think it's cool, but somehow I feel uncomfortable." But then one time goes on, she was on me, and now the most confusing part was that when she first came to my room, and that room nobody knew where I left, where I was living, and apparently she came in, and I was not myself. It was like I can just run away. But then she was there. She just told me to relax and act normally, and I must not act. So it somehow happened because we did let her in our lives, knowing that after she explained what she is actually doing. So for me, I just did everything as I do it, but with the fear that, what if I'm going to be exposed? With that fear. I had that fear only that what if the world and everyone around me is going to see how I'm living, and of which is my secret, and I want to close it even before anyone sees it. I want to see myself up there without them knowing where I come from. So now, apparently the world knows. You know.
Thank you. Have you seen the movie before it got?
Before the premieres? Yes, I did see it. It was longer than this, was it?
A little bit, but I think there was a scene which it was painful to take out, but finally we took it out.
Yeah.
So with one of
yeah.
his girlfriends.
Yeah, there were some scenes that even for me, even still now, I'm still not proud. I'm still not happy to see them on the big screen, but somehow this is not Africa, this is Europe. You are seeing it, somehow it gets emotional to me, but then it's here, it's not in South Africa. You are not going to run out.
She signed the contract. She signed the contract that the film will not be shown.
in South Africa? Not
No,
yet.
it's not about the contract, but the Venter and Sediso told me a couple of days ago that they don't want the film, to be shown in Katlehong, and if they don't change their opinion, the film will not be shown in Katlehong. That's.
But only in Katlehong, but beside that, you are discussing or?
Yeah, I think we will discuss about it, but yeah. But I think it's not. It's their lives, not my life, and so.
Do you have this impression that this film that you took part has taken your life to the next level? Maybe it's more positive than negative than you think.
That's my impression. I think actually about this film, being here in Europe, being showed in Europe, I actually think it's going to build me emotionally. I'm going to be someone who is more wise, and I actually think that I'm going to get away from the life that I'm living, because now I have experienced a lot of things. I've met people in Europe, and apparently it will happen if the timing is right.
Do you still see an option? Maybe you will say, okay, now this same movie took me to Europe, because if not for this movie, I'm sure you will not be here. Would you mind that? Okay, let them just see it in the neighborhood. Sometimes some things we are afraid of can take us to the next level. Do you still have this in back of your mind? Maybe it could be an option.
Something that I think for myself as an individual, well, it's here in Europe. Well, it gave me an opportunity to explore the world. I mean, coming here, it was always a dream. I never thought in my life I would be here. But then now, currently, I'm here and I'm speaking to European people. So about South Africa, I'm thinking that if it is played in South Africa, then it must really be something big, because now it cannot play there and then our lives or my life is still the same and the movie is playing.